Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about how to apply for Indian visa. And in this video, we are going to talk about what are the types of different Indian visas, what are the eligibility criteria, instructions step by step, how do you apply for an Indian e-visa. I will explain in detail the step by step process, what are the different payment options, how do you check the status of your visa once you've applied, and then finally you can receive your visa and fly. So feel free to skip to the section that is relevant to the information that you're looking for. You can go ahead and skip to that section if needed. Let's get started. So first of all, you have to visit the official website. This is the official website. I'll paste a link in the description as well. indianvisaonline.gov.in. This is the only official website where you have to go and apply for it. This is the authorized portal for visa application to India. Now, why do you need an Indian visa? Any foreign national who is entering India should have a valid international travel document in the form of one is definitely all of you need your passport. Second is you need a valid Indian visa from an Indian mission or a post, from the Bureau of Immigration. So this is what we're going to talk about in detail in this video. Now, if you see here, there are three sections. This is the section that we're going to talk about today, that is applying for e-visa by the Bureau of Immigration. And that is what we'll talk about in a few moments. But what are these two other sections? One is if you want to apply for regular or paper visa via the Indian mission or post, that is when you have to go here. And this I'll try to cover in a different video. Let me know in comments if you want me to cover this. And the other one box is for visa on arrival, especially for the nationals of Japan, South Korea, and UAE. And only for those UAE nationals who had earlier obtained e-visa or regular visa. So this is available at selected airports only. This again, we are not covering here. I am only going to cover today the process for e-visa. If you think after watching this video that e-visa is not what you want to go for, these are the other two options that you can explore. And let me know if you want me to cover these in a separate video. Then you see an advisory here, which is issued by the government of India. They have not authorized any agent or intermediary to charge any fees for emergency or express visa. So in case you are in a hurry and you see, I should reach out to an agent who could expedite my process, that is not the case. They will even do the same thing. They will come here, apply, and there is no such emergency or express thing that an agent can do for you. So if you want to outsource to an agent, then it is okay. But just because you need an emergency or express visa and you think an agent can help, that is what the advisory government of India has issued. For traveling to India, a regular or e-visa is mandatory, like we've talked. You need a passport with a regular or e-visa. E-visa is absolutely acceptable. So you don't have to worry that e-visa will not be acceptable. And that is what we'll talk through this entire video. There are some exemptions, you could apply for OCI or person of Indian origin. I have covered already the detailed steps to apply for OCI, and you can check that video out if you want to apply for an OCI instead of a visa. There's also another video that I've made for an easy comparison of whether an Indian visa or OCI, which one is better in case you want to travel for a short term or long term, or many other different comparisons that I have done. So let's go ahead and talk about the process to apply for e-visa. Now, when you click on this e-visa, this will bring you here, right? So this is indianvisaonline.gov.in. You may directly go here as well, or if you click on that Indian visa link for e-visa, that is what it will bring you here. Now, I will try to break it down into different sections so that it is really easy for you to comprehend this website. So what this says is just a notification that Indian e-visa service has been restored. So because of COVID, these restrictions, there were some restrictions, and the issuance of visas was stopped. This just says that this is now restored. E-visa service has been restored. Now, this e-visa application process is very simple. It is only that knowing about what are the different kinds of visas and how to apply. If you know about it, then this process is very simple. So if you see on their website itself, they've just mentioned that applying for e-visa can be done in 4 simple steps. First is apply online, and to apply online, you don't need any cumbersome or lengthy documents. You just need to upload your photo and passport page, which we will be covering later in detail. You need to pay your e-visa fee. You may pay via credit card, debit card, or even using some payment wallets. Once you've done that, all your documents are validated and verified and vetted. Then you receive your ETA online, which means it would be sent to your email, and then you can take a printout of that email, or you can even show that email and then fly to India. Once you print that and you present that at the immigration check where your e-visa will be stamped on passport. So if you see, it is very simple 4-step process, but the instructions are what sometimes confuse you. That is why I am making this video, to make it very simple for all of you. Now, these are the different kinds of visas. I will cover them in a moment. E-tourist visa, e-business visa, conference, medical, or medical attendant visa. Choose carefully what visa you want to apply for, and that is what I'll cover soon. Then there are some other useful web links in case you want to go to the Ministry of Home Affairs, External Affairs, Tourism, Immigration. You can browse through these important websites, links that are given here. Then what is given here is, if an applicant is unable to complete your e-visa form, which means you started your application, but you were interrupted and you could not complete it at that time, you can save your application. You do not need to start with a fresh application. You will get a temporary application number or an application number via which you can retrieve your application and resume from where you left it earlier. Then after your e-visa application is submitted, the same will be scrutinized. And if some document is not appropriate, for example, your passport is expiring, or it is an old passport, then you would be responded back on your email to re-upload these documents that they need. And to re-upload documents, there is this tab at the bottom of the page that you can reuse. And you receive this normally within 24 hours. Now, there are a few other tabs here. That is what we are going to talk about soon. What is the eligibility criteria? What are the instructions? What are payment related FAQs that you might have? So all of this information also we are going to cover in detail in this video. Then there are some help desk. You may reach out to these via email or phone in case something is still not clear and you need any information. These are the help desk numbers that you can reach out to. I did call one of them for one of those inquiries, and they did pick up, and I was able to get the information that I needed. Now, this is where you'll find all these other different tabs for applying visa, verifying payments, re-upload and check your visa. This also I'm going to talk about in detail in the coming video. So let's get started. So now what I am going to cover is, what are the different types of visas that you see here. Now, first of all, you have to choose a visa. You should be sure about what kind of a visa do you want to apply. This is the most common visa that most of the people will choose for, which is the tourist visa. Now, within the tourist visa, there are 3 different types. One is, the first one that you see here is 1 month, which is applicable for 30 days. And on this visa, you can enter and exit 2 times. That is, there is a double entry, and this is non-extendable and non-convertible, which means you cannot extend your stay beyond 30 days and you cannot convert it into any other kind of visa. So be sure what kind of visa do you want to apply for, because each of these have different purposes. Each of these have different restrictions and payment methods associated with them. If you are in violation of these terms and conditions, then while exiting or entering next time, you might face serious consequences. The other one is 1 year e-tourist visa. This is applicable for 365 days from the date you received your electronic application. And this allows you multiple entries. There is no restriction of 1 time or 2 times. Within a span of 1 year, you can enter and exit multiple times. Now, there's another visa, which is 5 years e-tourist visa. So people who have settled outside and they want to continue traveling to their home country or India, they can apply for this visa, and it allows you multiple entries. However, the continuous stay during each visit cannot exceed beyond 90 days, which means you can stay in India on this visa for 90 days, and then you would have to exit and enter back. And for USA and Japan, however, the period is extended. Instead of 90 days, it's 180 days, which means instead of 3 months, it's 6 months is what it says. In case you want to extend, there are unforeseen circumstances, then you can reach out to the FRO office in India, which is nearest to you, to check if you can extend it or no. But ideally, these are the standard guidelines that you should follow when you apply for this e-tourist visa. Then there is this e-business visa. If you are traveling only for the purpose of business, then this visa allows you multiple entries for 1 year. However, the continuous stay in each visit cannot be 180 days. So if you stayed for continuously 180 days, then you have to exit and enter. And if let's say your business requirement is to stay for one more week, then as soon as you have completed 180 days, then within the next 2 weeks, you should visit the concerned or nearest FRO office for this extension or checking with them what is the process that you would need to follow. If you go beyond 2 weeks, then again, there could be serious consequences. Other is e-conference visa. So this is a single entry visa for organizers to upload all the details and documentation on the MHA website. So if there are some big conferences that are happening, government conferences, and you're specifically visiting for that, then this is the visa that is specific to that, and it is valid for 30 days. Then there is e-medical visa. If you're visiting India for your medical reasons, then it allows you 60 days and it allows you triple entry. This visa is valid for 60 days and you can enter and exit 3 times. Then there is also a medical attendant visa. If you are traveling with a person who is visiting on an e-medical visa for some specialized medical treatment or otherwise, then the attendant can also stay for 60 days from the date of arrival into India, and it allows the same number of entries, that is triple entry. So these are the different kind of visas where you can apply for e-visa. If you do not fit into any of these categories, then look at other tabs where you can apply for paper visa at a regular Indian mission. Now, let's move on to the step 2. Again, now what I'm going to talk about is eligibility criteria. Who are the people what are the eligibility criteria to avail e-visa? Remember, it is not only Indian visa, it is Indian e-visa. If you want to go follow, if you do not fall into any of these eligibility criteria, then you might have to apply for regular paper visa at the Indian mission abroad. Now, these are the eligibilities. Let's go through in detail for each of these eligibility criteria that you should take care of before applying your visa. So for international travelers who are visiting India for recreation, sightseeing, or a casual visit to meet friends or relatives, for some short-term yoga programs, short-term courses on vocational courses like local languages, music, dance, art, cooking, medicine, it is not a formal or structured course, which means it is not a degree, right, which is not exceeding 6 months. So these short-term courses are for less than 6 months. You're visiting India for some voluntary work for short duration, maximum period of 1 month. You're visiting for medical visa. You're visiting, to attend a person who is on a medical visa. You're coming for business, conference, seminar, or workshop. Then you are eligible to apply for e-visas. You can go through these details as well, and let me know if you have any questions. Then, as a part of the eligibility criteria, your passport should have at least 6 months validity, and I will show you if your passport does not have 6 months validity, then your e-visa will throw you an error. It will not let you proceed. For international travelers, you should have a return ticket also booked along with, and you should have sufficient money to spend during your stay in India. This is something that you might or might not be asked, but in case you are asked, then you should have sufficient documentation to support this. If there are travelers who have a Pakistani passport or are of Indian or of Pakistani origin, then you are not eligible for applying for e-visa. Then you have to go back to apply for a regular visa at the Indian mission. These are the people, or these are the criteria where you are not eligible to apply for Indian e-visa. Remember, you'll have to go for a different, which is regular visa here. So diplomat or official passport holders, then if there are individuals who are endorsed on parents or spouse passport, and then people who have international travel, who have international travel document holders other than passport. So you don't have passport as a valid international travel document, but you have some other document, then you're not eligible to apply for Indian e-visa because a passport is must for applying for Indian e-visa. Then, if you're a national of any of these countries that you see below, I have not covered all. Once you visit this page, you can scroll down and see a lot of other countries. If you are ideally a national of any of these following countries, you are eligible for e-visa. If your country is not listed here and you want to apply for Indian visa, then you can either call the help desk numbers or you can send them an email as well that I shared earlier. Then next, what we are going to talk about is what you see here is instructions for applicant. Now, these are also very important to make sure your visa does not get rejected or does not get into scrutiny and gets rejected. Let's talk about these general instructions in detail. We've already talked about 5 categories of e-visas. There is this e-tourist visa, e-medical visa, e-conference visa, business visa. So, you are usually allowed to club activities. These are permitted under these activities. Let's say you are on a tourist visa, but you also want to go for a medical reason, or you're on a business, you want to go for sightseeing. You can usually do that. But the primary purpose of your visa should be clear, which means if you're coming for a conference visa, then you should apply for a conference or business visa and not a tourist visa. Ideally is the general guideline, but you can club these activities if you want to. So for if you are applying for e-conference visa, then you will be allowed to permit, there's an exception under e-tourist visa only, which means you cannot go for medical reasons to India on a conference visa. You can visit for tourist reasons, but not for medical reasons. And only 2 e-medical attendant e-visas will be granted against 1 e-medical e-visa is what you have to be careful for. So if you're applying for 3 dependent visas on e-medical attendant visas, then the third one could get denied. That is not allowed as per the process. For the e-tourist and e-business visas, the applicants of the eligible countries should apply at least 4 days in advance of the date of arrival, which is at least 4 days before. So plan in such a way that you apply at least 4 days in advance. You could apply 5 days, 10 days in advance, but you should not apply in less than 3 days when you want to travel. Even in case of emergencies, it is expected that you apply at least 4 days in advance. For the medical and conference visas, again, you have to apply for at least 4 days in advance, but within a window of 120 days. For example, if you are applying on 1st September, then what you have to do is you can apply for any date within the 120 days. Because these are specific visas, which means if you want to travel after 2nd Jan, then you will have to apply for a visa again. Now there is this sample e-visa application that is available. I will show you what is the sample e-visa application when you are applying in a moment. You should have a photograph with a white background, and you need to upload a photo of your passport containing details like name, birth, address and all. This has to be uploaded mandatorily. So there will be a field once you apply for visa. If you upload something else, then your visa might get rejected. So you need to upload copies of your passport and your photos as per the specifications. What are these exact specifications? For example, the image should be a JPEG image or a PDF, and what should be the size in pixels. That is what we'll cover when we reach that section specifically. Now you have to note, like I mentioned earlier, the fees is country or territory specific, and there are 2.5% bank charges that would be levied. And not only you have to apply for e-visa 4 days in advance, but you have to make sure that the payment is also made at least 4 days in advance before the expected date of travel. Otherwise, the application might get delayed. And there are the links here to see what kind of fees is applicable to your country. You can go here and click on this. I can also try to add a link in the description if that's easier. Once you've submitted your e-visa fees, it is non-refundable. Once you've paid it, for whatever reason you cannot travel, then you cannot go back and ask for a refund because you don't want to travel or you want to cancel. Whether this is rejected or granted, this is non-refundable. This fees once paid is gone. Now, once you've received your e-visa, it is must that you should carry a copy of your ETA, electronic travel authorization, when you are traveling. And you have to make sure that the status on ETA is granted. So even if because of their mistakes, it is not mentioned as granted, or it's if the ETA was sent with any other status and you forgot to notice, then it could lead to some confusion when you're getting this stamp. You should check the status of your ETA by checking the e-visa status. This also I will show you in a few moments. The biometric details would be captured when you entered, when you are entering India. It is not needed at the time of applying e-visa, but it will be done at the port where you are entering. Moving on to further instructions. This visa, e-visa, is non-extendable and non-convertible, which means you cannot stay beyond the permitted time on the visa and you cannot get it converted to another kind of visa. You will have to apply for a fresh visa if you have to for other areas. And you cannot visit restricted or cantonment areas on this e-visa. You would have to apply for a regular visa if you have to visit specifically these areas, because if you're a foreigner and you're asked for a document, then they will not allow you to enter these areas if you have e-visa only and if you don't have a regular visa. You would require prior permission also from the civil authority. You can click here on this link in case you plan to visit these specific areas, and you should complete that application here, which is not what we are covering here, because what we are covering here is a normal general e-visa process. The e-visa fees payment status might take up to 2 hours due to technical reasons, or even to for the status to get updated. So please wait. If you made your payment, if your money has been deducted, do not make a payment again. Wait for the page to refresh, check your visa, check your payment application that I will show you in a moment. And then, if it has not been updated in 2 or 3 hours, then you can pay for it again if you're in urgency. But otherwise, you can raise a issue with the help desk number. You can call or email them. And then you should verify your payment status by clicking on verify payment or visa fees star that I will show you before you make the payment again. Now, there is some other instruction about, if you are coming from a country which is affected with yellow fever, then you must carry your vaccination card, yellow fever vaccination card, because we don't want to put other residents at risk with this. And then you might otherwise be required to quarantine for 6 days after you arrive in India to prevent the risk. You may also go to the other guidelines on the Ministry of Health and Welfare, the link that I was showing you earlier. You must carry your passport along with you. You must carry all your passports, old and new. You should not carry only your old or only your new, but at least you should carry your new passport, the details of which you gave while applying for your e-visa. If you don't have that, then you might be denied entry at the port of arrival. The documents that are required are indicated against each type of visa. You should have all those documents ready when you are applying for e-visa, and all your letters. If you're coming for a business visa and you need a business card or invitation letter, then all of that must be in English language. Even if you're traveling from a country where a local language is different than English, then you should get it converted to English and then only you should travel. And failing which, it might take you would be liable for rejection, and then you cannot complain later on. And the entire process takes only 15 to 20 minutes. So that is why I've been saying the process is very simple. You just pay attention to the instructions and guidelines. And once you are filling your application, you can be done in like 30 minutes maximum. You should fill your application herself. You can use help from relatives or friends who've done this before, but you have to take the responsibility for filling accurate details. Now, for e-tourist visa, what you need is a passport. Then you might need, for short-term courses, a copy of letter from the institute or concerned institute on its letterhead. And then for short duration work, you might need a copy of letter from the organization concerned also. For e-medical visa, again, passport is mandatory in any kind of visa. Plus, you might need to show a copy of letter from the hospital concerned in India on its letterhead, which shows the date, tentative date. If it's not confirmed, some tentative dates where admission has been suggested to you for specific medical reasons. For the medical attendant visa, only a passport and photograph is required, but you could also carry the application, the letter that we spoke about in the e-medical visa earlier. For business visa, again, passport is mandatory, but you should also carry your business card and any letter of invitation. So if you're visiting India for any specific business reason, then you could have a letter of invitation from the Indian party who you wish to conduct business with. This is optional. This is not mandatory. If you are visiting, if your e-business visa is to deliver lectures under Global Initiative for Academic Networks, this is specifically for this GYAN, then you definitely need all passport and photos, but you also need invitation of the host of the institute to that foreign faculty. And you need a copy of sanction order under this GIAN issued by the National Coordinating Institute via IIT Kharagpur. You might also need to be presented with a copy of synopsis for the courses to be taken up by the facility. So this is one specific exemption. Please make sure you follow the instructions that are given here. For the e-conference visa, you need a passport, invitation from organizer, and then the political clearance from Ministry of External Affairs, and then the event clearance from Ministry of Home Affairs. We're not talking about how to get all of this in this video because we don't want to digress from the topic. All we are covering here is how to apply for e-visa, what are the different types of e-visa, what are the instructions. If you fit into any of these kinds of visa, then these are all the information that you need for this visa. Now, this is what you should pay attention to because we are talking about an E-tourist visa. What you need is a digital photograph, and it has to be uploaded along with the visa application, and it should follow the following requirements. The format has to be JPEG only, otherwise when you upload, you will get an error and it will not accept. The size should be minimum of 10 KB and maximum of 1 MB. Otherwise, again, you will be failing to upload that. The height and width of the photo must be equal, which means it should be a square photo. The photo should present full face, full front view, eyes open without spectacles. This is a generic guideline that it should show full face and front view and eyes open. Only in case of minors or little children, they may allow some exceptions, but it is ideally best to follow these guidelines. Then your head should be covered with a frame and your full head should be shown from top of hair to the bottom of the chin, which means you should not be wearing any head coverings, additional head coverings other than what your, religion allows. But your head should be and face should be clearly visible. The background could be white or it could even be a light colored background, but it should not be a dark black or, similar background. There should not be any shadows on the face. Then the passport size photo should be without any customization, animation, or without borders. You would need to upload a scanned copy of your passport showing the photograph and details. You could even click a picture of it yourself, and then you can format it into PDF format. Again, the minimum and maximum size is 10 KB and 300 KB. And for any other documents that you are uploading for business or medical reason, the invitation letters from hospital or from your business party, that should be in a PDF format. And again, they should be a minimum of 10 KB and maximum of 3 KB. Now, if you want to create a picture like this yourself, I have already created a video on how to do that all by yourself for free, using Microsoft Word and Paint. So that is also a video that you can go and check out on how do you want to resize your photo as per these instructions. Now we've spoken about the eligibility criteria and instructions. What you could also go here is, if something is not clear, try to visit this FAQ page. If you have specific certain exceptional scenarios, how can I get a visa on arrival? Can I land, using a border? Can I go via land or sea or airport? These are some FAQs that you can go through. I'm not going through these right now in detail, but that is the link that you can go through. Now, if you have some payment related FAQs, that is where you can go and, this is what it will if your payment is successful, how are the refunds processed, what are the bank charges, what is the support available. All of these FAQs you can find here on this link. Now, if you want to see what are the authorized immigration checkposts through which e-visa holders can travel, make sure you check this entire list of authorized immigration checkposts. These are the entry points. These are the airports, these are the seaports from where you can enter. So if you are trying to enter through any other entry point, you might need to check with the helpline on whether it would even be allowed for you to enter through the e-visa in India. Then there are these specific exit points from where you can exit from India. You can check this list here. Okay. Now, if you see the bottom bar is what we are going to talk about, which is how to actually apply for this e-visa now that we are clear with all the instructions and guidelines that we need to follow. So the first is a sample e-visa application form. They've given a sample e-visa application form, but it is not pre-filled. It just shows you this is the sample visa. You can click here. It will open this page here and you can try to look for different details here if you want to. Otherwise, I am going to anyways cover all of these details here. The form that they have had here is plain blank sample e-visa form. It just shows you what kind of form it is, what kind of details do you need. But what I'm going to show is what are the details that you need to fill. So now when you're ready to apply, you come here on the main Indian evisa.online.gov.in website, and you click on this apply here for e-visa. And that is when your application actually begins. And don't worry if that gets interrupted, you can always resume that with the application number that we're going to talk about. So as soon as you click here, you will see a pop-up, and that says that, all activities are permitted. However, select the primary purpose. You mean if you're coming on a tourist visa, you can ideally do business conferences or go even for medical reasons, but you should choose your primary purpose of the travel. When you click on OK, that is when you will be asked to start filling your details. So you should fill your nationality, where are you applying from, and then you can choose your passport size. So if you see here, these are the different passport types options that are available. Is it an ordinary, diplomat, service, special? So is what you should choose for. Then you have to give your code of arrival, date of birth, your email ID where you receive the ETA. Make sure you give your email ID so that you receive it directly. And then after you've given your date of birth and your email ID, then you should choose your visa service, because you've already chosen e-tourist visa here. So what you should choose is what kind of e-tourist visa, 30 days, 1 year, or 5 years do you want to choose for? And as soon as you choose this is what will start showing. What is the purpose of your travel? Is it meeting friends and relatives? Is it tourism? Is it short-term yoga? Is it voluntary work? All that we've spoken about. And here I have chosen only e-tourist visa. You can choose the visa that is relevant, applicable to you, e-medical, e-business, e-conference, or medical attendant visa. And then it will show you all of these options. You can choose one of the options to proceed. As soon as you click this and you've chosen this, you will be asked to fill an expected date of arrival. It is not exacted. If you have your tickets booked, you can give your exact date of arrival when you will land in India. But if not, you can give a tentative date. That is why it says expected. Then enter the text, click on I have read the instructions, and then there's a note that COVID related measures must be followed because we are traveling. This video is being made during COVID time, so any specific guidelines that are issued by the government of India, that should be followed. And then you click on continue. Once you do, it will give you note that you need colored photographs of 2 inches by 2 inches, a spare photo less than 1 MB, and a copy of passport page containing the personal particulars like name, date of birth, addresses, etc. You click on OK, and that is when it will bring you to this form. Now what you see here is it is showing your port of arrival because I chose Delhi airport here, and it will start showing you temporary application ID. You can note this down in case you exit anytime from now. So there are two options, save and continue or save and temporarily exit. So once you fill these details, if you keep on clicking save and continue, your application will continue to proceed. But if you save and temporary exit, you can retrieve it with this temporary application ID. Now you have to give your application details. You have to give your surname and given name as per passport. It should exactly match as per passport. Don't make sure you don't confuse your surname or given name and do not enter them in one line. In your passport, if it is in one line, for example, your entire name is given in given name or in surname, make sure you give that. Any mismatches can lead to confusions and discrepancies while arriving in India or when your visa is being approved. Then you have to give, have you ever changed your name? What is your gender? These options you'll see here. You can give your city and country of birth. Then you have to give your citizen or national ID, which could be SSN, for example, social security number in case of US. And if you are staying in any other country, like in India, we have Aadhaar card. In US, we have SSN. Similarly, whatever is the national identity number in your country is what you should input here. You can choose your religion. I've chosen others here, but you should give your religion here. Then on the visible eligible marks, it is like, a black spot on forehead or anything like that. If there is none, you can mention none. Then you have to choose your educational qualification from the list of drop down here, whether you're 10th pass, 12th pass, or, are you a graduate? Then you have to choose your nationality or region, and then are you a national by birth or by naturalization or by any other method is what these options will show you. And if this will ask you if you live for at least 2 years in this country where you are applying your visa from. I have chosen yes. Then what you have to do here is you have to give your passport details, give your passport number, place of issue could be your country of issue, or you could even give your state, but preferable is country. Now you have to give your date when the passport was issued and the date of expiry. So see, if your passport is expiring within 6 months from the date of proposed journey, it will throw you an error. And when you save and continue, your application will not be saved. You will have to input all of these details again, which means you need to make sure you have to apply for a new passport in case your passport is expiring in 6 months. Only then can you apply for e-visa. If you have other reasons, then you must check with the helpline or apply for a regular visa. Do you have any other passport held of any other country? I've chosen no, which would usually be the case. You would hold passport of one single country. Okay. Then once you click on save and continue, you have to give your present address where you are staying in the country you're applying for. So you should give your street, city, country, zip code, mobile numbers. Your email address is being populated as what you've given earlier. And if it is the same address as earlier, you can check this box. Or if your present address is different from permanent address, you can choose different addresses. Ideally, these addresses are just for reference. So you may choose single or different addresses. Once you've given your address details, you are supposed to fill your family details. You will be asked to give your father's name, the nationality. It could be different than yours. You have to choose their nationality, place of birth, and country of birth. And then similarly, you would have to give your mother's details and nationality and place of birth and country. You are asked to give your marital status, and if you are married, you will also be needed to give your spouse details like name, nationality, place of birth, and country or region of birth. Then there is some text asking about your parents or grandparents if they belong to Pakistan, because then you are not eligible to apply for an e-visa. Then you have to give your present occupation. I've given that, give your present occupation. You can choose down from a lot of list of options available, like engineer, doctor, chartered accountant. And then you have to give the name of your company, designation, address, phone, occupation. And are you in a military organization? Yes or no is what you would need to fill. Once you've given all of these details, you should click on save and continue. And you've already noted down the temporary application ID. Then it is asking you what kind of visa do you want. So you already chosen e-visa for 30 days. And what are the places that you are visiting? You could give one or two, but ideally, if you're visiting a place where you have to visit it and you need to show your documents, you could show those multiple places. That is how it shows you that, what place is one you are visiting. I have mentioned Delhi, second is Gurugram. Then if you booked any hotel details, you can choose yes. If not, you can choose no. The duration of visa shows as automatically populated as 30 number of entries. Double port of arrival we've chosen earlier is Delhi. And what is the expected port of India? This is not a mandatory field. For example, I've chosen that, even though I'll be entering in Delhi, I would be exiting from Amritsar. Again, this is not mandatory and this is optional to enter. Then it asks about previous visa or valid details. So have you ever visited India before? If you have visited, then give where did you visit earlier, the address and city, and then what was your last time visa number. You can give the visa and whether it was a e-visa, regular visa, where was it issued and when was it issued. Then it asks you about whether you've been ever refused to enter India is what you can mention here. If you have been refused, then it might ask you for additional details. Once you click on save and continue, you will be asked for some other information. What are the countries that you visited in last 10 years? You can choose from the list of drop-downs. I've chosen just 3 random countries. And then it will ask you whether you visited any of the SAARC countries. You don't need to know what these SAARC countries are because you see them in the drop-down here. So I've chosen, for example, I visited Sri Lanka for in year 2019 and I visited once. So this is what you should fill if you visited any of these SAARC countries in the last 10 years. You have to give a reference. Then it will ask you for reference information. You could give a reference name in India, any friend or colleague or travel agent, anybody who, or hotel address that you're booking, you could give their address as reference. So you could give a friend's address and then reference name for a person from where you are applying. So in my case, I applied from USA. So you could give a friend, colleague, anybody who you have as a reference in your country where you're applying. Once you've given these details, you can click on save and continue. Then it will ask you some additional question details that you have to provide the details. For example, have you ever been arrested or refused entry? Have you ever been involved in human trafficking, cybercrime? So mentioned no for all of them. If you click and yes, then you might have to provide further information on this. And then you have to give your consent that all of the information that you are telling here is correct, and then you can click on save and continue. Once all of that is done, you filled majority of your form, then what you have to do is upload your photograph, and then you have to click on choose the photo that you want to upload. You click on choose file, you can choose the photo from your phone or device or laptop that you're applying from. And once you've done, click on upload photo. And then in case you're not ready for your photo, then you can always come back, give the temporary application ID, and you can complete your application later. But if you are, these are the specifications. So your photo should be in JPEG format, at least 10 KB, maximum of 1 MB. The minimum dimensions are 350 pixels by 350 pixels. Again, if you don't know how to do it yourself, there's a video that I've already created, and it shows you how to adjust the height and how to adjust the pixels of that picture. So the picture should be a recent picture. If they find out that picture is not a recent picture, then they might question you in a scenario where you've put a picture which is 10 or 15 years older. So make sure you update a relevant picture that matches your current picture. Do not crop the passport image to use it as your recent photograph. So because that will not be clearer, upload a different passport size picture. If the photos are not clear, then your application might get rejected. So once you've chosen your file, you clicked on upload photo. This will show you that this photo has been updated for your temporary application ID, and you can either upload the image again, or you can save and temporarily exit, or otherwise you can click on save and continue to go to the next step. Once you've done that, what you have to do is document upload. In this case, for e-tourist visa, you have to upload your passport. You can click on choose file again and then upload your passport picture. Make sure you upload front and back together in one single document as a PDF document. Otherwise, it is liable for rejection. Now, these are the instructions again: PDF minimum 10 KB, maximum of 300 KB. Passport should contain all the details: name, date of birth, nationality, which means you should upload both front page and back page in a simple document. You could save it in a Word document and then just convert it into a PDF document if you're not scanning it together, or if you scan front and back page together, you could use a PDF joiner to create one single PDF and upload here. Once you've done that, you can click on I've verified that all the documents information is correct, and you can click on confirm. Once you do, you will see these two options. You can view what you've uploaded, or you could re-upload the document if not correct. And then you have to click on you verified that the documents are uploaded as per the requirements, and click on confirm. Once you do, you have to review all of the information that you filled so far. This is how it will show you. Once you reviewed all of that, then you have to click on verify and continue. As soon as you click on verify and continue, it will say that the application ID. It will give you an application number. And that this is the e-visa fees, and you have to click on OK. And as soon as you click OK, that is when you can generate an application form, which means you can save a PDF copy of the application form that you just reviewed for your references later. Once you click on that, this is the e-visa application form. This will be showing to you in PDF that you can download, and you can save it on your local machine. Once you've clicked on generate application form, you give that undertaking, click yes, and then click on pay later or pay now. And you have to note this application ID in case you want to pay later. So in case you choose for pay later, then it gives you a pop-up that you have to make sure that you pay the e-visa fees at least before 4 days of your journey date, which I mentioned earlier. So you click on OK, and then because you've chosen pay later, this is the block that you have to go to verify payment or visa. Then you give your application ID, date of birth, enter the text above, and then you click on check payment. As soon as you click on this pop-up that you saw earlier, this will again show, and then you can again check the undertaking, click on pay now, then choose the payment gateway. You could choose any of them, ePay, PayPal, or Axis Bank, whichever you are comfortable with, and then click on continue. Once you do, it will show you that message again that it may take up to 2 hours for your payment status to show. In case that does not happen immediately, ideally it should happen immediately. And then in case that does not happen, wait for 2 hours and come back to the tab that I just show you for pay later. Click on OK. I have chosen PayPal, so it shows you the total that is applicable for this tourist visa. So it is $25 plus the processing fees and GST. That comes to 25.89 USD. And then once you verified that the fees is correct, just click on Pay Now and pay it. Now what you can do is once you paid it, you can come back and print your e-visa application. You can, using the application number, you choose your e-visa, you give your code of arrival where what you chose, application ID, date of birth, passport number, and then you enter the text above and reprint. Then you can reprint your application ID. Note that this is only for applications that have already been registered. In case of e-visa, then the printed copy of visa application is not required. If you want to still carry a printed copy, you can, but otherwise it is not required. Once all of that is done, you've applied for visa, you've paid your fees, you can go here and check your visa status. Again, give your application number, passport number, enter the text and click on check status. This is where you can see the visa status for regular visa as well as e-visa, but we are talking about e-visa. So this can be used to see and print your ETA, right? Electronic Travel Authorization, and application ID can be seen in the acknowledgement email that would be sent to your email and also can be printed from the application form. In case you get any query like we talked about earlier, your pictures are not clear, your passport is not clear, or there are some information that needs to be re-uploaded, then you will get an email that you need to go here, provide your application number and passport number access code, and then again re-upload all the documents. And this is how your entire process is completed. And then, like I said, this process is very simple if you pay attention to some of those details. And then once you've applied online, you've paid your visa fees online, then you receive your ETA online, and then you're ready to fly to India. Once you have ETA in your email with the status granted, just fly to India, get your visa stamped, and enjoy your visit in India. There are a lot of great, wonderful places to see. Thank you.